Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lora Rolling and this is part 4 of the Christmas lights ornament tutorial. This is the Christmas lights ornament that we are making. It is so cute and colorful. I love it so much. And today we're going to be doing the unit called Yellow Round Bulb. If you haven't seen parts 1, 2, and 3 yet, that's okay. You can do these out of order. I'll have those 3 listed down below in the description. That way when you finish this one, you can go and watch those 3. We just have a few materials to get ready, so let's get them listed and then we can get started. Let's go. So the beads that we're going to be using today are all Miyuki Delicas. I have opaque yellow AB, white pearl AB, opaque dark cranberry, opaque delphinium, opaque chartreuse AB, silver lined crystal. Just to make it easier, I'm going to call this yellow, white, red, blue, light green, and silver. We'll also need some beading thread and a beading needle, and I like to use the Eslon Fire in the color crystal, and this is 4-pound thread. You can also use a 6-pound thread if that's what you have. And I also like to use a size 10 beading needle. You can use a size 12 if that's what you have, if that's what you prefer. For implements, I use long nose pliers to hold on to my thread at the end of the video, and I cut my thread with scissors. And then to end our tail today, I'm going to show you how I use the fire method. So those are the materials that we need. All you need to do is pour out your beads into little piles and thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread, and then we can get started. So I've threaded my needle, and now I'm going to pick up the first 3 beads, which are 3 yellow beads. I'm going to take those yellow beads and I'm going to pull them all the way down to the end of my tail, leaving about a 6-inch tail. And now we're going to tie a square knot. So we're going to cross over on the top, and then we're going to pull our tail through. And then we're going to do that again. We're going to cross over on the top and pull our tail through. So now you have what looks like a little snowman. So now I'm going to put my 2 fingers in the bottom loop, and I'm going to pull on the tail until that top loop turns into a little knot. Now I have my little tail here, and I'm going to singe it, but I'm not going to touch it to the flame. I'm just going to get it super close, and it'll melt into a little bead or a little knot, just like that. Now I'm going to be pulling on the long thread, and my 2 fingers that are in the loop are going to twist while I'm pulling that long thread, and until that little knot meets the long thread. And so it should look like this. Now I'm going to take that little knot, and I'm going to take my thumbnail and pull that little knot all the way down to the beads. And that completes row number 1. So I'm going to tug the knot over so that it looks like it's coming out of one of the beads. And then I'm going to pick up 2 more yellow beads. So this is the beginning of row number 2. So it looks like we're coming out of this bead right here. So I'm going to sew through the bead that is furthest away from the knot. And then I'm going to try to get those beads to sit right on top of their buddies, just like that. Now let's pick up 2 more yellow beads. We're coming out of this bead. Let's sew through the next bead and trying to get those new beads to sit right on top of their buddies. Now let's pick up 2 more yellow beads. And we're coming out of this bead. Let's sew through the next bead as well as its buddy right underneath it. So we're sewing through 2 beads this time. Each time we sew through 2 beads, we're going to refer to that as stepping up. We are actually stepping up to the next row, and we are getting our thread in position to start that next row. So now we've completed row number 2. Let's start row number 3. Let's pick up 2 silver beads. And we're coming out of this bead, so let's sew through the next. And now let's pick up 1 yellow bead. We're coming out of this bead. We're going to skip the bead that's set down. We're going to sew through the bead that's poking up. That's our up bead. And that newest bead just settles right in next to the down bead that we skipped. Now let's pick up 2 yellow beads and sew through the next. Let's pick up 1 yellow and sew through the up bead. Let's pick up 2 yellow beads and sew through the next. And then our last bead in this row is 1 yellow bead. We're skipping the down bead. We're going to sew through the up bead, and we're also going to sew through the bead right below it, stepping up so that we can now start row number 4. Let's start row number 4 with 2 silver beads. One yellow, always sewing through those up beads. 1 yellow, two yellow beads, one yellow, one yellow, two yellow beads, one yellow, and one yellow. Skipping the down bead, we're going to sew through the up bead and the one below it. And now we are ready to start row number 5. Let's start with 2 silver beads. One silver, one yellow, 1 yellow, 2 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 2 yellow beads, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, and 1 silver bead. We're skipping the down bead. We're sewing through the last 2 beads. And now we are ready to start row number 6. Let's start row 6 with 2 white beads, 1 silver, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 2 yellow beads, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 2 yellow beads, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, and 1 silver. And we're sewing through the last 2 beads. And now we get to start row number 7. Let's start with 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 2 white, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 2 white beads, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 white, and 1 white. Sewing through the last 2 beads. And now we get to start row number 8. Let's start with 2 white beads. One white, one light green, one white, one yellow, one yellow, one white, two white beads, one white, one yellow, one yellow, one yellow, one yellow, one white, two white beads, one white, one yellow, one yellow, one white, one light green, and one white. Sewing through 2 beads, stepping up to row number 9. Let's start with 2 white beads, one white, one white, one light green, one white, one white, one white, one white, one blue, and one white. One white, one white, one yellow, one yellow, one yellow, one white, one white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 light green, 1 white, and 1 red. Sewing through 2 beads, and now we get to start row number 10. Let's start with 2 white. Just a little heads up, these are all white all the way around, so I'll call them out as we go, just in case you're writing it down or you are taking count. One white, 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 two white beads, one white, 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 two white beads, one white, 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 and one white. Sewing through two beads, and now we get to start row 11. Let's start with two white beads, one white, one white, one white, one light green, one white, one white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 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 2 white beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 light green, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white. Sewing through 2 beads, and now we get to start row number 12. Let's start with 2 white beads. Oops, I have a little knot in my thread. There we go. 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 light green, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 2 white beads, 1 white, 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 2 white beads, oh, gotta get them to sit straight, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 light green, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, and 1 white. Sewing through 2 beads, and that completes our 12 rows. Now, if this is the first time you've done a triangle with me, we add connection rows so that our units can connect together. Some sides are going to have connection beads and some will not. In this case, this side is going to have connection beads. The bottom is going to have connection beads, but this side is not going to have connection beads. So the way we started out is by capping off our point by adding 1 light green to this corner, and it turns it into a point. And now we're going to add white beads all the way down the side. So let's start with 1 white, 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 and 1 white. Now let's cap off this corner with 1 white bead. 1 white bead. And now we're going to add connection beads right here. So let's start with 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 yellow, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, and 1 white. Now we just need to cap off this corner with 1 white bead. And now all of our beads are placed. Now all I do is I turn this over And now we're going to weave our thread through and zigzag a couple of times to make sure that this last bead that we just added is super secure. So let's sew up, excuse me. Let's sew up 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're coming out of this bead right here, the first yellow one. Let's sew down the bead right next to this, the one that we're coming out of. This is what I call a zigzag. And then sew up the bead right next to that one. That helps this bead become more secure. Now let's sew up 2 more beads. 1, 2, and let's do that zigzag again. We're coming out of the top of this bead. Let's sew down the bead right next to it. And up the bead next to that one. Now let's sew up 2 more beads. 1 and 2. We have hidden our thread. We have secured this last bead, and now I feel comfortable enough to cut my thread. So I'm going to pick up my thread with my long nose pliers, and I'm going to cut my thread with my scissors. I'm going to get as close to the bead as possible without cutting the bead. And now we have completed our yellow round bulb triangle. We only need 1 of these for the project, so congratulations, you've completed it, and I will see you in a second. That was so much fun. Thank you so much for being here with me today and beading along with me. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified when the next video comes out. I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for watching.